Welcome back. You're listening to Real Talk with Brian and Dan on 1150 KKNW.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Dan. Our first guest today is Mike Nakamura of Mike Nakamura Photography, LLC. Now, in his second stint photographer, he remembers why he picked up the camera in the first place, and it's for the people. Mike specializes in headshots and corporate event photography. While most of his customers are Bellevue headshots and Seattle headshot folks, he does travel for headshot photography as well as corporate event photography. He has been fortunate enough to photograph many celebrities, including President and Michelle Obama and Madeleine Albright. He's also photographed 54 Microsoft Store grand openings and worked with many other great corporations. Mike recently received certification as a minority business professional from the Northwest Mountains Minority Supplier Developer Council in November of 2016. Through photography, Mike gets to record events, make friends, meet people around the world, and on the home front, his super salesperson wife Barb and dog Stella keep him grounded. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. Now, as we get to know our guests in this area, we'd like to ask them a little bit about what they do when they're not doing their trade craft. So when you're not shooting photos, what do you like to do?
Well, unfortunately, most of the time it's working in the yard.
In the yard?
Yes. But I have been doing more skiing the last few years. I grew up skiing and got away from it, and I'm back at it these last couple of years.
Where do you like to ski?
My favorite place to ski is Jackson Hole.
Jackson.
Been there 15, 16 times.
Wow. Have you been to Whitefish?
Not been to Whitefish.
But Jackson Hole.
Big Sky, a few other places, Chamonix, of course, all the major Colorado resorts.
Okay. All right. Well, Jackson Hole's on my list.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
It's gorgeous. So, Mike, we like to ask each guest to share a fond memory about the home you grew up in.
I think one of the greatest things that my mom and dad did for us kids is that they threw all kinds of stuff at us. You know, they would take us fishing to see if that stuck. And of course, that's how I got into skiing. Is they would take us skiing. They would take us mushroom hunting. They gave us scuba diving lessons. They did all kinds of crazy stuff.
Wow.
I thought you meant literally throw stuff at you.
Yeah.
That's maybe a bad memory I had, but never mind. No.
So that was one of the really cool things about growing up in our household.
Yeah. Where did you grow up?
Mostly in North Seattle Shoreline District.
North Seattle. So a local guy.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Awesome. So this is a hot topic here, I know, for a lot of people. And the first question is, why is it so hard to get a headshot?
There's a lot of a little trepidation by people coming in for a headshot. One of the hardest things to do is to just stand there in front of the camera with these lights on you. There's no props. There's nothing there. So ironically, the photograph that we need for ourselves most in business is actually one of the hardest ones to have taken of you, because you're not playing with your dog. You're not, hugging your wife or significant other. You're just standing there.
Right. So it's really hard. How do you help with that?
Well, my mentor, Peter Hurley, who is considered one of the best headshot photographers in the world, he has a phrase. He says, headshot photography is 10% photography and 90% psychology. And so the technical part is not nearly as important as connecting with the people, getting a sense of where they are, building them up, and helping them be themselves while they're standing there with all these lights in front of this plain background.
Help them relax and just kind of, because the best shots are when you're natural, and somebody surprises you with a camera on their phone. You don't know that you're on camera, but when you set up that system, lights are on, and you're like, oh, this has got to look really good. There's that pressure.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you really answered the question that was bounced around my head about why hire a professional. I think it's that psychology you mentioned. Can you give us another example of that?
Well, beyond the direct direction, that psychology of it is some people come in, they're very shy and reserved, and you have to sort of gently pull them up to their normal personality. Other people come in like, all right, I'm on fire, let's go, let's do this. And you have to sort of settle them down because they're like overly excited. So there's that range of things. And so that's where you get good at reading the people and and kind of connecting, and sometimes in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Now, Brian and I are in the world of real estate, and we see a lot of headshot photos. Why would a real estate professional need more than one?
A lot of times you'll not necessarily want to have the same image on your real estate page as your LinkedIn profile, or if you're doing some speaking engagements or attending a conference where you're on the program, you would want to have maybe a slightly different shot, also maybe more formal and more casual versions of your headshots, so that you're ready to provide those to whoever's looking for a headshot.
Awesome.
Huh. So what do you think about the online rating apps to pick the best headshots?
Well, they're very interesting, and sometimes I think they do select a great headshot. If you put up several options and they try to figure out the best one. Sometimes I think they do. Other times I disagree with them. So it's a bit subjective, and I think that comes down to the human touch, the personal one-on-one relationship that you build with the person. And when we're reviewing the photos during the session, we'll be going through them and we'll say, oh, no, yes, no, that's good, maybe like it. And then we'll go like, boom, both of us will say, oh, that's the one.
So
that's
you do
really
it during
great.
the session?
Yes.
So you're working digitally
Yes.
on these? Yeah.
And so those kinds of subjective things that you both see, those little micro expressions, those just tiny little differences between images, I think sometimes those are lost a little bit in the AI type of evaluation.
That's very true. Especially how many hundreds, how many thousands of headshots have you looked at? Millions, right?
Of a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So after a while, there's an instinctual thing that takes over from a professional like yourself.
You see the little relaxation in the face, the little bit of relaxation in the eyes, or maybe a little more comfort level increases as you go on through the session.
So what is a micro expression?
That is something that if we're trying to emulate it, and by looking in the mirror and saying, oh, I'm going to let my smile come down or up just a little bit, it's virtually impossible to consciously do. But these little micro expressions are where you catch that Duchamp smile, where you catch that real natural smile, and people are able to identify it even if they don't have training. And it's not something that, oh, you needed to move the corner of your mouth 1/16 of an inch up or down, or it's just people see it.
So
as
it's very
human
nuanced.
beings. Yes.
Interesting.
That is really good.
So can you manage large corporations and conferences?
Those are some really great projects for me. We sometimes will bring in multiple photographers, sometimes with makeup artists, and we'll set up a photo booth there, and we use very similar system, just refined a little bit to get the number of people through and the amount of time that's required. And that's really good for companies where they have their sales team in for a meeting, and they want everybody's LinkedIn page, everybody's corporate bio page
Gotcha.
to look good and consistent.
So that's a thing where you could do maybe a luncheon shoot or afternoon team meeting.
Yes, sometimes it's 2 hours in the afternoon, or sometimes it's they have you hang out all day and shoot during the breaks.
Okay.
Other times they'll have you come in and they'll set it up so that you'll photograph like 100 people in a day.
Wow. When you do something like that, how many shots of each people are you trying to get? Because obviously you can't stop and.
We actually do review each person's image, even
do?
in those rapid fire sessions. I call them super nano headshot sessions because we're going so fast, and I may only have 2 minutes with one person, 3 minutes with another person. Sometimes someone will come in and they'll be done in a minute. We can spend 5 minutes with someone who's not relaxing as easily, but they're very fast, and so I don't think, 3 exposures, that's it. I just think, okay, we capture 1 or 2, and then we look or not, and then we keep going. So it might be 20, it might be 2.
Interesting.
Wow.
Well, and I think a lot of folks they do it as an afterthought. It's not an intentional thing. And when you look at professionalism, right, and you kind of there's that what is that Blink, right? Malcolm Gladwell, when you just kind of see some marketing material and you see stuff, and when a photo shoot looks like an afterthought, maybe doesn't carry the same power, same weight as something that has actually been intentionally thought about it.
Well, I know that, real estate professionals, they take great care in their presentation. And it's in their business card, it's in their online and on their pages online, it's in all their profiles. And this is one aspect of that total package that they create and are very conscious of, and I think rightly so, to truly be professional. Awesome.
So, advice for those out there listening: how do they relax in front of a camera?
It's kind of up to the photographer to get you relaxed, but I would say that, it's to tell someone how to relax in front of the camera is a real puzzle. I actually never tell anyone how to do that. I'm always doing a little sort of misdirection where I'm talking to them or giving them things to think about that is not, think about you're in front of the camera.
Right,
So,
right.
so I guess if I were giving advice to
Distraction.
someone, I was like, start thinking about the best time you had at your last exercise session or yoga session, or maybe you love to read. Think about the really coolest ending of a book you've read recently. Don't think about, here I am in front of the camera.
So what about clothes? What do you recommend people wear?
I like to suggest people wear very solid colors. Anything that distracts, like a busy pattern or a particularly bright color, I would recommend against, unless that's part of their look. If that's part of their brand, let's say they wear certain jewelry or certain colors, then that can be incorporated. But if it's not part of their brand, it might be too distracting. So kind of darker tones, but not black usually, unless that's part of your brand. But the tones that are solid and don't take anything away from your face. We want to see your face. We want to see you.
So this shirt might be a little too loud.
Well, for you, it'd probably be really good.
Okay. Oh.
How about makeup?
Makeup. Men, I usually say no makeup. Women, I would say keep it clean and simple. Go for that supernatural look. This is not a glamour shot most of the time when you're doing a corporate headshot or a professional headshot. That's a different photo shoot, glamour look. This is a natural look. You'll meet people the way you look, not when you're going out on to the red carpet and you're at the Oscars or something. That's not how you look every day.
That's not the point. Well, listen, we're about at the end, but I wanted to just kind of wrap this up for our listeners. It's clear that Mike is a true professional when it comes to helping you create that image that you need. So if you're out there and you're listening, there's not only that, but setting the tone, helping you be prepared for it. So please do reach out to Mike. Mike, how do listeners get a hold of you?
Well, the best way is through my website, which is unfortunately a little long because Mike Nakamura is a very common name. So MikeNakamuraPhotography.com.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
I appreciate it. It's my pleasure.
All righty. So after the break, we're going to have Wilma Peck from Michael's Auto Repair, who knows a thing or two about Old Man Winter, and it ain't pretty. Join us after the break.